What's up, gamers? It's JKon here, and today we're gonna do the first episode of Pros and Cons. So what is Pros and Cons, you may ask? Well, this is going to be my opinionated / review piece of basically anything that I want, whether it's a piece of media that I've consumed, whether it's a game that I've played, or a TV show that I've watched, etc, etc. This will kind of just be my thoughts and opinions on a bunch of topics down the line, but for this episode I wanted to do a 2022 review because, well, as you all know, we're now in 2023 and the year has kind of gone past and is going quickly. So I thought I'd do a wrap-up video of everything that I've watched and consumed in the last year, and here it is. To put out a few things, this is my opinion. So yeah, if you don't like it, deal with it. But again, these are my opinions, so you're welcome to have your own opinions. Everybody is allowed to have their own opinions, but again, this is mine. So yeah. Second thing I want to talk about, I will go into spoilers for some of these topics, so if you do not want to be spoiled, feel free to skip around. I will probably add timestamps to this just to help some people out, but yeah, spoilers ahead. Anywho, welcome to my opinion. So the first game that I want to talk about is Hades. Oh my gosh, what can I say about Hades? I know I'm a little late to this. Hades been out for a couple of years. It is a great game. It's won Game of the Year, of course, so it is an amazing game. So there's just infinite things that you can say about this game, but I guess this is my opinion. So what are the pros about Hades? Well, one is the infinite replayability. I feel like this is one of those games where you can hop in and you can genuinely just go. You can try out new things. You can go run after run after run, and it doesn't really get stale. I feel like a lot of the problems that I come with gaming, that especially for me, is that the replayability factor isn't there, where like playing the same thing over and over again gets kind of boring. But in this game, you do not have to worry about that, in my opinion. I think there's just so many new things to learn and different styles to try out that it's just great. One of the best roguelites ever made. There are 6 different weapons in the game, and that allows for different styles of gameplay, and there's a weapon and play style for everybody, and that's awesome. And I think giving people options to shake things up really makes a game good. And I think with the level and progression in the game, especially for the weapons and how you can scale them to be stronger and stronger over time, it's just so sick. It just makes me want to hop in the game and try something new every single time, even though some of the builds I do is always the same thing over and over again. Anyways, continuing on, it is a wonderful story and progression. You don't feel like you're stuck somewhere and you're not moving forward. You actually genuinely continue to build into the story. You get deeper and deeper. Every conversation that you have with a character leads to more storyline. Every mission that you go on allows the next step of the story to be unlocked. It encourages you to continue to play the game, and I think that's something that is so special. It is definitely a goated soundtrack. The soundtrack is just chef's kiss. Oh my gosh. I'm really big into music and sound. I think having good sound design for a game is really important, and Hades just nails it out of the park. It is just so good. What's great about the game, just playing it, is that every run is going to be unique. Even if you try to hard force the same build every single time because that's just your favorite build and you just love it so much, your rounds are going to be different. You're going to face different enemies. You might end up in different tunnels. You might get offered different boons. You might get offered different choices, and that's what's great about the game, is that it's going to be unique, so you don't feel like you're in a repetitive motion. And I feel like a lot of games get stuck in that, but Hades does not. What I love about it, and can also hate about it sometimes, is the RNG aspect in this game. RNG can make or break this game, and it can lead to a lot of unique runs, or it can lead to really bad runs, but you don't really know until you really try it out. And I think that's the beauty of the game, is that they give you options to try new things, and it's just really up to your own onus if you really want to go down that path and see like, hey, did this combo really work out? Oh shit, it didn't? Okay, cool. Well, I move on to the next one. Great. And you feel excited about moving on to the next one. Or if you die and you're like, shit, I really want to try that again, you can try it again. It's not replicable every single time. However, you can definitely get similar results. It is one of the best games, I think, that shows your own skill expression and progression. When I first started the game, I was ass. I was hot ass cheeks. Like, gosh, when I was streaming this, man, I would just die on runs over and over again. I think I would stream the game for a couple hours and then I'd probably die before I even get deep into Asphodel or something like that. So being able to come back to the game now and easily breeze through the game and take on the challenges with the Pact of Punishment and taking on harder and harder challenges and breezing through it, just seeing the skill difference from beginning to end, it's really rewarding, and I feel proud of myself that I've gotten good at the game and have been able to beat it so many times. I am a huge Greek mythology nerd. I definitely love all the Greek gods and whatnot. So having a game that brings you into that world and gives you a little bit more lore, even though it's kind of Supergiant's own take, it's still great. I love being able to interact with the gods, and it's like, wow, this is what Percy Jackson felt like. I was really big Percy Jackson nerd. Fun fact about Percy Jackson books, I read every single one as soon as they were released. My uncle bought it for me every single time a new one was released, and I've read every single one except for the most recent spin-offs, like the Norse one, and I think the Apollo one I did not read as well either. Anyways, great series, love it. Fell in love with Greek mythology as a young kid, so just being able to play a game that has so much representation of it is just, ooh. And Hades 2 is imminent. Oh my gosh, it's over. I'm so excited for Hades 2. I'm excited to see what's gonna happen. I was happy with Hades 1, so Hades 2 is just what's next up. All right. That was a lot, but let's talk about the cons a little bit about Hades. Like I was explaining earlier, it does have a bit of a learning curve. Like I said, there is a very strong progression ability in the game for people, and I will tell you that you're going to die a lot, like a ton, but that's okay. It's okay to die, and in these types of games, it's okay to die. If you ever played like a Souls game, Sekiro, Bloodborne, the new one of course is Elden Ring, any of those games where you die consistently, that's just part of the game. So it's okay to die. Don't get frustrated. I know it's frustrating, but don't get frustrated. So there's definitely a really big learning curve. I would say at the early stage of the game, it's really hard to upgrade things, like just to scale your power. So I guess that adds to the flavor of replayability in a sense, that you can play the game a lot, but you are weak early. But once you get strong, like you feel strong, trust me. Another con for it, if you are not into this, which I don't understand why you'd really play roguelites too much if you're not super into this, but I guess it's part of a factor of every roguelite, it's RNG. RNG kind of sucks sometimes, and sometimes when you are like, man, I really want to play this lifesteal sword build where I just attack super fast and I get infinite HP and I will never fucking die and I'll just be a drain tank. And then you get offered every single thing except for the drain tank aspect. It kind of feels bad. It kind of does, because you set up your entire build for this one specific boon, but then you don't hit that boon. It feels bad sometimes. But also that leads to a lot of different ways to play the game, and I'll be honest, I've beaten the game with builds that I would not have expected to go just because I was offered bad RNG. So, at the end of the day, I think it's a great game. 10 out of 10 would play again and die again. Would recommend. Alright, that was a big mouthful. Let's go to game number 2. Spider-Man Remastered. I know this came out in 2021. I know I'm going to be late for this, but we ball. Anyways, I played it last year. I think this game is great. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think just being Spider-Man is cool. So, Spider-Man's pros. It was a really immersive experience. I felt like I was definitely in the game while I was playing it. I know it's kind of like GTA, but you're freaking Spider-Man in New York, and I think that's awesome. But it was a really immersive experience. You got to feel the power of Spider-Man swinging through the air and fighting people, and I think it was just really fun, and I felt really engaged with the game. I actually beat the game in about 21 hours, which I don't know if it's really fast or not, but I pretty much beat like 98% of the game in like 21 hours. So I binged it really quickly in a few days, but I thought it was really fun. If you're an objective-based individual where you have tasks around the map or mini side quests, which a lot of these RPG games kind of have, this is a great game for that. I think the side missions and the objectives in this game are so great, and there's so many opportunities for you to fight. In the early game, you can fight mobs and gangs. In the late game, you're fighting Mr. Negative's bad guys. You're also fighting Sable. There's a lot of fights and things to do, and I think that it's just really fun. I think the side objectives honestly make the game more fun to me rather than the main storyline. I thought the main storyline was pretty good, but overall it was kind of short. Not saying it was a super long or in-depth one, but considering how many main missions were there, in my opinion, versus side missions, the side missions definitely made the game what it is. talking about the game some more, it is a beautiful game. I think the landscaping and just the design of the game itself is wonderful. If you've ever been to New York City, it's a pretty damn good representation of New York City. And if you've never been in New York City, play this game, because now you get a tour of New York City from Spider-Man's eyes, and I think that's awesome. I think the music in this game is wonderful. I thought the background music was really, really good. There wasn't a dip or anything too crazy about it, so the sound design was really, really good. I really enjoyed how many custom Spider-Man suits were in the game. I chose a comic one from a long time ago just because I enjoyed reading the comics as a kid. So being like comic book Spider-Man in this realistic, hyper-realistic world was really fun to me. I thought it was really funny that you could just stand out graphically comparatively to your background. And I think the last thing that I really want to talk about and hit on was the fighting mechanics. I think fighting mechanics in RPG games can be difficult at times. One of the games I feel have done it well over the years is Assassin's Creed, where you have that mix between being a smooth assassin and being able to get in the nitty-gritty fighting. I think Spider-Man has done a really good job. The fluidity of fighting between just going straight for melee hits into flowing into web swings and using your gadgets and tools during your fight and whatnot, which is really, really fluid. And I just think it just made for a really good experience while playing the game. Now, some of the cons, I played on easy. I'll be 100% honest, I played on easy. I am not one of those story grinders that necessarily go for the challenge of the game. I kind of just want to see the objectives in the story and just play it through. So as objective based as I am, I just want to clear the objectives pretty easily. That's just me. So obviously the game could have been a lot more if it was a lot harder, but I thought it was pretty solid. Secondly is I hate sneak missions. I hate any game that makes you have to sneak around with AI that are tracking you down. I hate that aspect of games. And I know there's like an entire genre of games like that. Like, oh, Assassin's Creed is definitely one of them, Justin. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're fucking stupid. But what I'm saying is, when you can't do anything while you're sneaking around, it feels bad. In Assassin's Creed, you can at least murk some people when you're sneaking around. In this game, you are literally playing as MJ and as Miles Morales. You're literally civilians, and you don't get to do anything but walk around and try to sneak. Sometimes the AI, with the way that they don't detect you, is so stupid that it's just... it ain't it. So anytime that I had to do a sneak mission, I was just very annoyed because, again, I like doing the objectives. I like fighting. I like swinging around the map. I just thought it was super cool. I never used the fast teleport in the game just because the swinging around New York City at super hypersonic speeds is just so much cool. It's so much fun. So that's just me. Score at the end of the day, 7.5 out of 10. Solid game. All right, let's go on to the next one. Lego Batman, the video game. This game is super old. Like really, really old, but still fun. So Lego Batman, it's a Lego game and they're goated. If you've never played a Lego game, hop on that shit. I think just being able to take the formula of a movie or a TV show or whatever they're going from and simplifying it down into a Lego world that's explorable, that allows you to play as the characters in the movie, that go through similar scenes and experiences that the movies present, is just, it's just so cool. I think it's such a great idea. And I don't understand why more games don't necessarily take this formula, but the Lego formula is just so goated. What I really enjoyed about Lego Batman specifically was that you get to play as both Batman and, of course, the good side of Batman, so Robin and like his homies, as well as getting to play as the villains. So you get to play as the Riddler, as Poison Ivy, as Mr. Freeze, the Joker, Harley Quinn, etc., etc. And what's great about the story in this game is that you get to play the story from the hero side, and then when you finish that story, you can actually go and play it from the villain side and see how they ended up in that position before Batman showed up in the first part. And I think that is really, really cool. I think that's great. I honestly think that's what makes this game more of a standout to me compared to other Lego games, is because you actually get to do this other side to the story. So for this Lego Batman series, they based the stories off of Michael Keaton's Batmans. So if you've watched those movies with Mr. Freeze, who was played by Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day, they're in this game. It's great. I definitely recommend playing it if you're into Batman. But yeah, some cons about the game. It is a bit dated. It did come out for the GameCube back in 2007, 2008. So it is a really old game that, yeah, it's dated. Part of being dated, it does have really bad movement mechanics. I know it's designed for like a GameCube controller and you're supposed to wander around with a joystick and whatnot. I did use a controller, but just, God, some of the mechanics when you're trying to look for things, it just did not work. It just did not work at all. So it can get frustrating at times where you're just like trying to double tap and move somewhere and you're like not going where you want to go. And the last con is, if you're not a Batman fan, don't play this game. Play another Lego game. They have so many different brands and series underneath this serialization of Lego games that you're bound to find something that you like. You like Harry Potter? They got it. Indiana Jones? Check. Star Wars? Check. Jurassic Park? Check. Lord of the Rings? Check. They have so many opportunities. So if you're in a different fandom outside of Lego Batman, but you still want to try out this kind of games, go try Lego games. They are so much fun. The final game that I wanted to talk about today that I started playing in 2022 was Mini Motorways. Now this game is just a really chill background management game. It's just really fun to play. It's a chill puzzle game. The purpose of the game is that you are building roads from the houses where your civilians live to the facilities that they work, and they're color coded, and you're basically building your city of roads around the map. If you've ever played an intense kind of city design game like City Skylines, it's kind of similar to that. It's a planning game where you have to map out and plan around your road, but it's a lot simpler. It's really just roads, bridges, tunnels, stoplights, and creating a navigatable city. It's not something really complex like City Skylines. The music is super relaxing. If you just like chill, kind of coffee shop vibe, just a very chill game, hop in this. Just listen to the music. I always listen to my own music all the time, but when I'm playing this game, I do listen to the in-game music because I think it's really solid. It's a great game to multitask. If you are like me, kind of ADHD, AF, and you want to watch TV, you want to watch YouTube, you want to absorb another content while also tickling your brain and playing another game, try this game. You don't have to play it at a super fast pace. The game is pausable, so if you want to make adjustments to your city, you don't have to have the city go into chaos while you're editing it. You can literally pause the flow of the cars and reformat the city. So great multitask game. This one doesn't really have as serious of an in-depth effect as like Spider-Man does with New York, but it is a global adventure game. All the maps and cities that you build around are cities that are in the real world, like Tokyo, like Moscow. It's not exactly a great representation of like the terrain and how the cities are built and designed out there, but you get to travel around the world. So I mean, that's something, right? But I think it's good. I think it's fun. Some cons: if you don't like management or analysis, or you get overwhelmed with trying to create and plan a cityscape or something like that, don't play this game. I say it's really chill in like the early stages of the game, but as you play it more and it gets more sped up and you have more structures and houses that you need to build and connect, it can get a little stressful, especially if you don't pause. If you don't pause to readjust how your city's flowing, it can be overwhelming. Anyways, 7 out of 10. Good game to load up from time to time. Solid game. What's up, gamers? Post JKon here, and while I was editing and going through this video, it turns out it is really long. So I will be breaking it up into 3 different parts. Stay tuned for part 2, which will cover TV shows and anime. If you liked the video, like it. If you have something to say, leave a comment, subscribe for more, and of course, stay hydrated. Peace.